Welcome to Blueprint to a Winning Plan, a concise guide to building a business plan that attracts investors and drives execution. Over the next slides, we'll walk through the key components from strategy to financials and show practical steps you can use today with examples and visuals presented by Dr. Microlearning to keep the story clear and actionable. This slide explains how to turn purpose into trackable milestones using the SMART framework, so objectives are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Think of concrete targets like active users or revenue by quarter. Then use those milestones to prove progress, demonstrate operational discipline, and build back a confidence through consistent, verifiable results. In market research and validation, we emphasize replacing guesswork with credible data by studying customer demographics, competitor pricing, regulatory trends, and growth forecasts. The visuals show how each pillar strengthens assumptions, projects demand, and quantifies addressable opportunity, so you can justify investment and make better product and go-to-market decisions. Segmentation and targeting is a three-step approach. Divide the market into meaningful groups by need, geography, income, and behavior. Estimate population and spending power to size each segment. Then prioritize the niches where conversion, probability, and lifetime value are highest. The diagram highlights focusing resources where impact and returns will be maximized. Defining an ideal customer persona uses a narrative approach to move from vague crowds to a single relatable archetype, capturing age, role, pain points, media habits, and purchase triggers. That persona then guides product features, tone of voice, and channel choices. So marketing and product teams make consistent decisions that increase relevance and conversion. The competitive landscape and SWOT slide shows your positioning versus direct and indirect rivals on quality, price, and distribution reach, while the strategic SWOT highlights strengths like tech and R&D, weaknesses and external opportunities or threats. Use the insights to close gaps, target underserved segments, and outline risks to mitigate for lenders and partners. This page covers product feasibility and IP status by mapping core features, key value propositions, and competitive advantages to development stages from concept to pilot testing and scaling, while showing patents, trademarks, and trade secrets as part of an IP strategy. The visual supports due diligence and explains how feasibility informs valuation and investor confidence. Crafting a compelling value proposition means clearly defining how your solution is better, faster, or cheaper than alternatives, quantifying financial, operational, and emotional payoffs, and embedding proof through pilot metrics and testimonials. Treat the core proposition as a headline that drives all marketing and investor messaging to create consistent, persuasive communication. The operations and fulfillment framework walks through 5 linked stages from sourcing and production to quality control, fulfillment, and after-sales service, calling out supplier networks, lead times, capacity, and critical dependencies. Demonstrating operational transparency shows stakeholders you can deliver volumes on schedule at a target cost and with predictable service levels. This comparison lays out 4 business models: direct e-commerce, distributors, retail partnerships, and SaaS subscriptions, and contrast them across reach, margin, and control, so you can weigh global access versus retailer dependence and recurring revenue versus margin trade-offs. Then choose pricing and scalability strategies that align with customer habits and long-term viability. Brand identity and strategic positioning translates your core value into a consistent public face by defining brand personality, a concise tagline, key messages, and a clean visual tone, and then showing how that identity differentiates you from commodity rivals, guides creative teams, and enables unified communication across ads, packaging, and investor materials to build recognition and trust. The sales forecast and marketing strategy slide brings together unit forecasts, a campaign calendar, conversion metrics, and quarterly benchmarks to show how customer acquisition and channel mix drive revenue. The dashboard highlights target CPAs, CAC, and LTV while tying campaign timing and budgets to measurable milestones for continuous growth tracking and optimization. Financial projections present a defensible 3-year outlook, with sales volume, pricing, variable costs, and fixed overheads, plus a break-even analysis, cash needs, and funding gap. The slide emphasizes conservative and upside scenarios, so investors can see minimum sales to cover costs, capital requirements, and the scalable opportunities that justify future rounds. When calculating total capital and use of funds, the visual breaks down allocations for product completion, marketing ramp, working capital, and contingencies, and shows a sample equity versus debt mix, together with a milestone-based drawdown schedule. This clarity helps prevent surprises, aligns investor expectations, and ties funding tranches to specific operational achievements. The risk management table categorizes market, technology, regulatory, and operational risks and pairs, each with probability, impact, and mitigation actions such as diversification, security measures, legal counsel, and contingency planning. The key takeaway is that acknowledging downside scenarios demonstrates maturity and reassures stakeholders that surprises are manageable and planned for. The quarterly targets and strategic roadmap outline Q1 to Q4 milestones for product launch, customer acquisition, ARR, and hiring, and show a visible flow from strategy formulation to action plan, execution, and measurable triggers like tranche releases. This makes it clear who owns each target and how meeting those goals leads to secured funding and momentum. Adaptive planning and continuous review keeps the business plan a living guide through monthly variance analysis, defined revision thresholds, and a dedicated pivot budget for experiments. Integrating real-world data and trigger points enables dynamic plan evolution so you can respond quickly to market signals while keeping strategic alignment and fiscal discipline. The executive summary slide distills the whole plan into a 2-page snapshot covering the problem and solution, market size and competitive edge on page 1, and financial upside, funding ask, and an executive snapshot on page 2. This concise format is designed to grab attention, set the narrative tone, and invite deeper review from investors and partners.